Would I be the a-hole if I stepped down from being maid of honor to my brother's wedding after my future sister-in-law implied I will ruin it because I'm not as pretty as I was in my 20s? Look, my brother, 38 male Aaron, is super smart book-wise, but can be a fool when it comes to affairs of the heart. I am not mad at him about this, and I don't want to hurt him, but Heather, 27 female, is Sith Lord of a woman, powerful, manipulative, and ugly underneath their masks. It sucks more because I introduced them. Heather and I, 32 female, met playing D&D, and we stayed in touch after our group disbanded. She met Aaron at my birthday party, and they dated in secret for a year before telling me and our mutual friends. They got engaged at my next birthday party. Yes, that's right, at OP's own birthday party. Asked me to be his best woman, a female best man, because he and I have always been incredibly close. And Heather frowned at him and said that was ridiculous, and I obviously should be her maid of honor because we're friends and a female and women go on the bride's side. The moment became awkward, and I told them I am happy to stand for them on either side. Because at the end of the day, it's about them as a couple, not the individuals, and whatever they wanted worked. I'm an idoid. An idoid, I say! I can list in great detail all the disturbances in the Force that should have told me she was far more trouble than she was worth, even if she were encrusted in diamonds. But my brother had been deliriously happy, and I rolled a 1 on insight, I guess. Oh, love the D&D references. The short list of problems was that Heather assumed the maid of honor is also the wedding planner, point of contact to the bride, free makeup artist, and pays for the bridesmaid dresses and the bachelorette party. I compromised by committing to do the makeup for free. I did modeling in my 20s and know how to make do. Helped plan the wedding with her and my brother, but could not financially pay for the dresses she wanted. I would pay for mine, but not the others. And the party, so I offered to do one, and she picked the dresses, the more expensive, and I paid it without complaint. She had all the bridesmaids, except for me, pay for the whole bachelorette trip, even those who couldn't come, but blasted me in the group chat about it, like apologizing for the cost of the trip. Well, since OP's not financially contributing, which led to the girls asking me how and why I ended up not paying anything. Things like that kept happening. Now I am going to pause here and say my brother is a senior staff engineer at a huge tech company and teaches programming at a huge school, so he makes plenty of money. When I asked my brother why he wasn't helping pay for stuff at the wedding, he looked incredibly puzzled and asked what I meant. I immediately shut up, realizing I stepped in it, and he said Heather insisted she pay for her half of the wedding, and they joint pay the joint parts, cake, venue, etc., to say to her haters she's not marrying him for his money. I know I am the a-hole for stepping in that one, I admit. Hell no, girl, you didn't do anything wrong. It's her fault she left the evidence wide open for you to step into and say, hey bro, are you seeing this? I'm not touching it, I'm just pointing it and just tilting your eyesight into this direction. Now there's more, but I don't want this to be a novel, so I will jump to the part where I might be the moral a-hole for. I hosted the bridesmaids and Heather at a planning party she wanted, and we sat, working on odds and ends and drinking lots of wine, when one of the girls, Amber, 20 female, asked if she can change her hair color. Her own wedding is coming up, and she's got a long waitlisted spot with a salon on her wish list to dye her hair, and she wanted to go red. For a note, I am black, and use weave to shade and style my hair in crimson red twists. Amber said she would want about my shade and that it complemented my skin tone. Heather chuckled a bit at that, and I kind of looked at her like, what? And she said it was fine, and she's no bridezilla, but she would prefer only one of us look that tacky. I felt hurt as Heather knew me before I went red years ago, and back then told me how great I looked and that I glowed, and now I'm tacky? I asked her if she meant it that way, and she shrugged and said, "Oh, it's about the people, not how good they look," she said. I didn't get it, and the other girls started chiming in, and Heather just said, "Oh my God, calm down. I didn't mean anything wrong. I won't let OP ruin my wedding entirely. Like, it's really okay. We are all going to start looking different in our 30s. Etc. I was the oldest of all the girls there, and I kind of chuckled it away and said Heather was the only one who gives me compliments on how much I still look young and like I did when I did fashion modeling. Nothing big, just commercials and small local runways, as it was once my dream to be like on Victoria's Victoria's Secret or whatever. And she snorted something like, "You can't do runway now and you know it." Okay. At this point, I flat out asked her if she had something to say to me. And she said that since I had been so sensitive about her asking me to do things, be a wedding planner, pay for the party, etc., for her wedding, she didn't want to bring it up, but she wanted me to change my look back to when you were so pretty, like when we met. That meant going back to my natural light brown hair, losing weight, I am 5'7" and 120 pounds, and wearing shapewear to fit in a smaller dress. Then she said, "Look at these lovely ladies, right? It would mean a lot to me if you could all shine up there." So according to a 3D body visualizer, this is the average person at 5'7" and 120 pounds. Just look how normal they are. Sorry, no, we can't even joke about them being fat. Come on. Of course, we should take into account this is just a very generalized human body image. I mean, we all have body fat grow in different places and different velocities. Not that BMI is entirely accurate on human health, but look, that's even in the normal to under range. How does she need to lose weight? Are you kidding me? I said that was hurtful, and I liked how I look now. I had lots of body issues trying for that dream in my 20s and skipped meals, drank too much, and worse, I hated my body. Now I do have curves, and I love them. I offered to wear a wig for the wedding if my hair color was an issue, and she just got quiet and changed the subject. To keep everyone from watching me get upset, I just shook the wine bottle and left, something about it getting empty and saying I was going to the kitchen to get a fresh bottle. Heather was there after a couple minutes and started saying, "Hey, you know I love you no matter how you look, babe." And I just shot, "Oh, but I look tacky." And she just shrugged and said that's why she didn't want to ask me. She knew I wouldn't focus on anything other than perceived slates. I handed her the new wine bottle to bring in, and I step outside to calm down. It's still on my mind. The wedding is this summer, and I am kicking myself for being sensitive. It's messing with my head. Now I can't even dream of standing up in front of everyone we all know in a bright dress. The maid of honor dress is a different color and cut than the other bridesmaids. The way I am, but a part of me thinks I am letting her under my skin and should not worry about how I look. I don't want to be maid of honor regardless though. So would I be the a-hole if I stand down? I don't even know what I would tell my brother. Hope he comes back with an edit, some FAQs and things they didn't think to add, but now did. Brother has a prenup. It wasn't really a trust thing, but he just figured it would be there for them to point at and rebuff the rumors that she is with him for money, and I am told she enthusiastically agreed. Does not have a full-time job. She works in retail and does some theater work at my job as an actor. She lives with her sister and sister's spouse in the city as she is in school. She took a few years gap from high school to college. Her sister is kinda how we met, as she is part of my gaming group. Oh, she does part-time work as an actor? She doesn't have a full-time job. She works in retail. Oh, she did not enthusiastically agree to that prenup. No way. I do not work in software, nor do I make a lot of money compared to my brother. I am single and live alone and make okay money in non-profit theater to survive. Aaron and I don't have any other family. We've been each other's family after I came out as bi and our grandfather disowned me. Aaron went no contact out of support for me. We are also not biological siblings, as Aaron is adopted and I am a miracle baby. Our dad walked out when I was a kid, and our mom passed away when I was a teen. Now, in good news, it does seem that the rest of the bridesmaids were actually on OP's side. The other girls did try to speak up, but Heather shut them down quickly. Some even texted me after apologizing for it happening. One backed Heather, but that's the only bridesmaid that isn't somehow a mutual acquaintance or friend of ours and is Heather's BFF, and she has hated me from the beginning as I am maid of honor instead of her. Now, is it as simple as just telling your brother that you're not going to be in this anymore? Well, I considered it, but I am terrified of losing him. To be honest, it's always been him and me against the world, and while we do have close friends, mutually and apart from one another, I am afraid I am deflating his happiness, and he will resent me and or get defensive and will push me out for good. So there are genuine stakes here. Clearly, by marrying this woman, the brother sees sister-in-law as the, love of his life. Could you really trust that by being a sibling all throughout his life that, you're going to get priority over the sister-in-law? It's scary. I can understand the OP being extremely hesitant to even bring this up. This isn't just losing a close friend. This is losing her family, too. But hooray to the power of peer pressure and aggressive enforcement to do the right thing. Comments were consistently just harassing the OP to get off her booty and share the truth to the brother. If anything, it makes you a horrible person not to tell him. You frickin' idiot. Mwah. Love you. And literally on the same day, half a day later, we get the update that the brother knows everything now. I immediately got comments saying the similar thing, that I would be the a-hole not to tell my brother the truth. It was devastating, and I admit some of the comments were worded in a way that really hurt, but at the end of the day, I was asked if I was okay with Aaron marrying a person who will hurt him, and something in my brain clicked. I love my brother more than anything, and I realize now I was being spineless and selfish to not come to him with this. From the beginning of me being maid of honor, Heather monopolized my time. I can pinpoint exact moments I was slowly pushed out of regular contact with Aaron. If I was not working or doing my side gigs, all my time was on the phone with her or footing the bill at dinners and lunches with her over the wedding. Someone mentioned that she was trying to keep me and Aaron from spending time, and I realized they were right. Anytime I called him and she was there, she would take the phone to talk wedding stuff, etc. I would be so worn out at the end of my days, I wouldn't even reply to texts. I feel so stupid. I was a coward and so afraid of losing my only family, I forgot to be family to him, and that's hard to even type, but it's true. Aaron called me early. Apparently, a bridesmaid who was at my house the night I mentioned in my last post, Sophia, 26, who is one of our good friends, apparently suggested he reach out to me, and when he asked why, she didn't say. I didn't realize, but I have been miserable since that party at my house. I didn't know how much I seemed off. It was brought to my attention how far out I seemed in public and how withdrawn I've been in general. Aaron called and asked if I was all right. I know the wedding is stressful. Heather has been a wreck and I snapped and just started crying and hung up. He was at my place within the hour and I told him everything. I don't remember seeing him so mad in my life. I am skipping a bunch, to be brief. He asked me how much I spent on the wedding, and I just handed him my phone with my bank app and the bridesmaid chat all open, and he scrolled and asked me why I would not mention this to him. I explained, and he shook his head. He wrapped me in a hug and told me not to worry and ordered us food. After he left, Sophia texted me and Aaron in a new group chat with the three of us, some recordings from when she was making TikToks and the like in various bridesmaid events with Heather in the background and nothing more. I saw it indicated Aaron saw it, but he hasn't said anything other than, now I will use a fake name for myself as I have the others. OP, turn off your phone if you can. I will drop by tonight. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and am on my couch drinking and waiting. Oh boy, Aaron's about to lay out a little bit of punishment. Now, quick random update. I am a bottle of wine in, so forgive my dyslexia. I am doom scrolling Reddit and Facebook, and Heather has blocked me on Facebook and through an app for my texts I can see when she's texted many times. I have opened nothing, and I won't until Aaron arrives. In the meantime, I am truly in tears, good tears, over your support and advice. I was never a strong person, that was our mom, but you and my friends make me feel strong and I cannot express my gratitude. I will update when I can, but it may be tomorrow, as I am passing that line of tipsy into more than tipsy. And second update, my Venmo popped up and Heather's sister Haley just sent me money. No description on it. Just a bride emoji? Also, Aaron says he is on the way. As I am on Facebook, I am seeing more of the girls in the bridal party in different chats having issues with Heather. I am more of an Insta or Twitter gal, so never even saw it. I am messaging them back now. Now editing in to say that I am trying to post the update, but having issues may have to take 2 separate posts. So let's just expand on some of the things that happened in that last post. In regards to the TikToks, like what was going on in them? What was being picked up? So Sophia picked up in the TikToks. Now I didn't watch them all, but the ones I did watch had Heather's voice as she put me down. One clearly has her voice saying that I am wasting space if I don't go and pay for the bachelorette party, which I completely forgot about. Another one was I was not there for, but Heather used the N-word, and the recording cuts out as the girls say that's not okay. I don't know what Aaron is going to handle this, but he knows how much I hate that word, and so did our mom, and it angers him as well. Yeah, it's mentioned later on, but OP and the brother, African Americans. So if you already developed the theory that the sister-in-law might have a little bit of racism in her psyche, well, congratulations!
You've answered correctly and win the $1 million prize!
So the next day, we get a lovely update. Props to OP for the title. Ding dong, the witches. By the time Aaron got back to my place, I was less tipsy and more wine drunk. He looked at me and said I needed to lay off the celestial absinthe. A D&D joke. He looked exhausted. I apologized as I felt I had imploded his life, and he snapped at me something like, "Don't you dare apologize for telling me the truth, ever," and went on about how hurt he was. I never told him about any of it. I apologized, and he reminded me of Jeff, and how bad things could have gone if he hadn't figured out what Jeff was doing to me. I suffered in silence, and things could have escalated, and he could have lost me. All he has, and he would never have forgiven me or himself. I told him he was right. And from now on, no lies and no secrets between us. He made me pinky swear like we did when we were kids. He then told me what happened. He got to his house and listened to every single one of the recordings. He had sent himself items and screenshots from my phone, including all the payments he could find of what I spent, and calculated it. Me a check, and the total is staggering. I don't know if everyone is like this, but sometimes it is hard to keep a running tally on a specific expense over time if you just spend a little here and a little there over a year. But let's just say the check will replenish my lost savings and then some. He then called Heather over under the guise of wanting to have dinner with her. When she arrived, he was sitting in his living room and acting casual. He was recording the whole conversation on his computer nearby where he teaches tech, so the audio was perfect when he played it back to me, except for when Heather was moving about his house, doing things here and there and in other rooms as she talked to him, but he stayed on the couch by the desk. He was casual and asked about the wedding planning. She lamented how much there was to do, but how excited she was. He asked about me. How is OP doing? I haven't been able to catch up with her. And Heather said something about how she is trying to coach me on being a maid of honor, but that it's fine. She just wants him to be happy and have his adoptive sister at the wedding. Aaron and I never use the word adoptive. He is simply my brother. Adopted or no. I never knew she used that term when I wasn't around. Pin it down as to why? Like, there's nothing wrong with him being adopted or anything, but it just didn't sit well with me. He kept it chill, asking her questions he already knew answers to, and she would clearly lie to him. He brought up the money, and maybe he should contribute, since he does make more and he doesn't mind. That's when the big lies happened. She claimed to have worked many shifts and saving a lot of money and the like to pay for her half. And then she blamed me on the super expensive bridesmaid dresses, claiming I made a big deal about not looking my best in the much more affordable dresses she had wanted, etc. But made it out like she compromised by yielding to what I wanted, even though it was more expensive. I am making this really short, but she made me out to be this diva and would imply how I must talk to him into buying me expensive things, and that the bachelorette was going to be her biggest expense because I am a city girl and would not stand for a small dinner, which is what Heather wanted. Absolute Wookie poo-poo, but whatever. Aaron toyed around a little longer before saying, hey, you should come listen to this, and started playing some of the videos. You can hear Heather saying things like,
Who is that? That sounds like me, but that's not me.
but he kept playing them until she just goes,
What is this about?
he said he knew the truth and is giving her the chance to tell him the truth. She pretended she didn't know what he meant, and Aaron just said, allow me to be very clear. I know you've been lying to me, so tell me the truth. She started crying and asking why he's doing this to her and asked what she did to deserve this, and he got angry. He stated lying wasn't even the worst, but how he treated me, his sister, and Heather's supposed friend. A lot was said between them, but he never raised his voice. And at one point, she was screaming, and he said, I wouldn't even speak to you if you were just going to yell. They argued more, and he told her to get out and that the wedding is off. He said he expects her to pay me and him back for all the expenses, or he will bring her to court. And then, as she was crying, he called her sister Haley to tell her that Heather is on her way back home and laid out everything, so Haley knew exactly why they were calling it off. The recording ends there, but according to Aaron, he puts Heather's things in her sister's car for her. Yes, I am pettily specific about Heather not owning a car. And locked her out. She stayed at the door crying for a minute and left. Aaron says he took a moment to cool down when the drama started back up. Yes, remember that jealous, wanting to be maid of honor friend? Well, out of all the bridesmaids, only one was singularly Heather's and not a mutual friend of ours or a friend of mine or Aaron's. Kim hated me at the very beginning because she is
Heather's true best friend.
and should have been the maid of honor, but made up some stuff that I threw a fit. I wasn't important in the wedding, so long-suffering Heather bent a knee and made me maid of honor. So Kim called Aaron and yelled at him that Heather is at her house, heartbroken and depressed because the other girls lied to him to make her look bad. Heather is willing to forgive Aaron and take him back, but he needs to acknowledge the truth. She said Heather would only get mean to defend herself from us ganging up on her, and that Kim witnessed it firsthand. She told him I was the worst one and would make snide remarks to Heather about taking my brother away from me and how I was alone and had no one. She implied that something else that I won't repeat here because it's disgusting, but Luke and Space Mom, if you know, you know. Then she dropped that Heather is also pregnant and the stress cannot be good for her or the baby. In case you don't know the reference, I tried to Google Space Mom and Luke and closest thing I can get to is Luke and Leia Skywalker, so I'm assuming this was an insult about inciting or insinuating that Aaron and OP have some sort of incestuous relationship. Now, Aaron said that he was almost considering talking to Heather and seeing things from her perspective because he was dumb and he did think that he had loved her, but it was the last parts that snapped him out of it. He said if Heather perceived she was being attacked, he almost felt bad. But he also knew me well enough to know that I am far too non-confrontational. Then wham, baby? He told Kim that this is impossible, as Heather's rule was no intercourse until marriage, and he respected that. But now Kim and Heather are claiming that he was drunk one night, and he and Heather did the deed, and he must not remember, as he was practically passed out for most of it. Which I won't begin to even touch that here, but I have never felt more angry in my life. Aaron doubts this as he has never been so drunk he would forget things, and on top of that, why would she keep it a secret from him after the fact? More to it, but those are the cliff notes. Yeah, like, okay, your argument for your, accusation is that you sexually assaulted him. Wow, what? What?
Now she is pregnant because we did it without your consent. See? We're the good people.
It was late and Sophia couldn't come over, so we FaceTimed her to thank her. She and her girlfriend were eager to hear what happened, and Aaron told the whole thing over again, and Sophia's girlfriend, Letty, told Aaron to immediately demand a medical confirmation of pregnancy and a paternity test, as well as have Heather pin down the when and where. She reminded Aaron that he has cameras all over his home and in the main room, so this can easily be disproven, but to also tread carefully, because she can see a mile away that if Aaron refuses to be conned by that Medusa-ish homeworlding wannabe, she will try to spin it to make him an aggressor. Heather is pre-law and her dad's an attorney, so Aaron will call him today and will speak to Heather only through his attorney going forward. We also opened some of Heather's texts to me together and the screenshots, each one, but I was sleepy because of the wine and fell asleep. When I woke up, Aaron was on my tablet, still reading and screenshotting, and he seemed oddly chipper. I asked what's up, and he informed me that Heather's sister Haley reached out, and she will be going to the doctor with Heather to see if Heather is really pregnant, but Haley is doubtful, as she never mentioned it, nor has Haley noticed any signs. It seems Haley is on his side and over her Schmidt. He also wants to thank Sophia and the other bridesmaids for helping us and is thinking about keeping the venue and just having a party in place of the wedding, but he isn't sure. Honestly, I don't think he slept and he looks awful, so I canceled all my plans and I'm going to make sure he rests and takes care of himself. Nothing has been decided, but he now sees how manipulative Heather can be. I know he is heartbroken, but he's putting on a face for everyone. I know far too well, eventually, he will need to mourn the relationship, and I am determined to be here when he does. And so that's the finale. All resolved. Hopefully. Looking so forward to the slight quick update where we point out the fact that yes, Heather is not at all pregnant, and it was all a lie. And just a final little comment from OP2. Heather actually comes from money, and they can make things unpleasant. Her dad is also a raging racist, since I am African American, and he actually didn't like Aaron since he is from outside our country. Well, friends, that's where we'll end today's video. Thank you once again for watching and enjoying today's content, especially tolerating my stupid rambles in between. You be good, love your face, see you next time. Bye-bye!